Hello everyone. In this tutorial we learn how to create a structure in which we can select items from the grid on the left side, and we move those items to the grid on the right side. I have created one such application here, and I can show you how it works. So it's in this project. Okay, we run it. We have some items displayed in this grid, and we want to move these items here in this grid. So we select them. We can select some items, bring it here. We can select all items. If we do not need items here in this grid, we can move them back here. So this application is quite simple, and it's needed in some database applications. So this can be a part of your project. Okay, so let's move towards our project. The thing is that you create a simple project here, call it borrow books. You need to create the layout, something like this. Select and drag two grids here, one more, Z. Call the name is books. This one is borrow. Create two buttons. Reduce the size. Call this button move, and this one is remove. Make the text something intuitive like this. This is for moving forward, moving backward, and reduce the size so that it's look okay. I can make like this. Second, you need to add a data source to the books table. You can create a new connection. My SQL name is, my computer name is Loving Star, and the SQL server name is SQL Express. And that's the connection. It's okay. Next. Select the books table. I have other tables as well, but you create a book table with the structure book ID, name, author, publication date, and it would appear here. Just click finish. Provide select this DataGridView books and go into the data source here. Sorry. Now select this box. It will show some change here. For this grid on the right side, we configure the data source on the runtime. Excuse me. Okay, so go to the code and declare some variables in the beginning. This is the books data book source. Book source is binding source. The binding source is the source for the structure of the data grid. We create another borrow source is the binding source. We will bind our the first excuse me, the first data grid and the grid we is bind to this source, and the second is bind to this source, but we do it, we configure these variables later. So create something else. Books view is binding view and is data view. This will hold the data of the two grids. Books view is data view. Create a data set. Okay, we provide a new variable to all the okay, so that the references are created as soon as we use the variables to avoid any runtime errors. Okay, here you need to initialize the sources. The book source comes from the this is the name of the data grid, the books dot data source. This one, the books view is equal to books dot data source. No, actually we can obtain this from the book source, but we will change the type. So book source dot list, and we give the type. The type is data view. The next thing is that we configure this dataset as well. We provide in source the source for this should be the books view dot data manager dot dataset dot colon. Next thing is that we set the data properties of the right data grid as the data properties of the left grid, but we do not copy the original items, just the structure. Okay, so borrow source, we have some spelling mistake here. Borrow source, now data source is equal to ds, and borrow source dot data member is equal to the only table, which is the books. Okay, so the borrow view, we can now define the borrow view as well as the borrow source dot list, and the type is data view. Okay, the next step is that we configure the data grid. Configuration means we provide the data source. The data source is now the borrow source that we configured just a while ago. Here. So now we bind the table on the left side, the right side as well, but we just clone the table on the right side. Cloning can bring the structure but cannot bring the data into the data view of the target table. So we can verify this. So let's verify that everything is going fine. Here we verify that did we get the structure, the table structure in the right grid or not. So run this application, and yeah, hopefully it's correct. We copy the structure but we didn't copy the items. Now the next step is that we we do this functionality. We add functionality to these two buttons. Okay, so do that. We do that. Double click this button and you come here to its event handler. But before we do something in the event handler, we make a function, and that function would be responsible for moving the data between the two data grids. We create this function as a private sub and call it move books. We provide two arguments to this function by reference. By reference means any change is made here, when any change is made to the variables inside this function will be reflected in the original variables. So the first argument is the source data grid, and the other structure is the target from where we move the books. So the target will be a view, a data view. The thing is that we can provide both the source and target as data grids, but as I mentioned that the data view can be used to make changes in the data grid indirectly. We will using two loops. One loop will be iterating against the selected rows, and the other loop will be used to extract data inside the cells. There can be multiple cells inside a single row, so that's why we need two loops. We initialize I to the source dot selected rows in the selected. Yeah. So no, there's some problem here. Yeah, here it's a data grid view actually. It's not data grid, so we make a mistake here. Let's select it both. Here, selected rows dot count and what the item list, because the index is based on 0. Again, there is some problem. What's the problem? Okay. Here we declare a row as data row view. We will copy the each selected row iteratively in this. So, and we provide a reference from, we create a row in the target and provide the reference, store the reference in this row variable. So it's simple. Now next thing is to iterate to against the cells that we call columns or cells. You can call it cells or columns both. So this variable will be responsible for navigating on cells. We create this and any int n16 is okay. Initializes at 0. Now we use for each loop and declare a variable cell as okay, we declare it as a DataGridView view cell in source dot selected rows, which row, ith row dot cells. Okay. From the row dot, in the row we add new items from the selected rows. And at the index we call cell dot value. We copy this in the new cell by cell, each cell, and we increment the call every time. Okay. And the next thing is that we call next okay, these are for loops, bring it closer to each other. Okay, so we have created a function that copies. Now the task is to call this function here in the event handler of this button. Call it here, move books, provided we source data grid, let's see books. From books we may bring it to the bar or table, but not here. We do not provide the grid, we just provide the view. And let's check it if it works or not. So we run the application here, we select some books here, and now the books hopefully appear here. The next thing is that we need to sort these items as we select them here. And also one more important thing is that we want to remove these items. We remove these items from the source table so that the user cannot select them multiple times. And that's the next functionality. So the one thing is delete them. Okay, here delete the copied items from the source table. We just provide a comment here. For deleting, no, it's outside the class. Put it here. Okay. Create a variable count which will keep the count of the selected items as the source dot selected row dot count. Now run a loop starting from 0 to count -1 and source dot rows dot remove 8 mm, force dot selected row. Which row we want to? The selected row dot index. So this line is this portion is doing the work for deleting the selected rows. So let's check it. Yeah, the items has been removed from the source table, so it's working. The next step is that we select some items here and bring them back here, remove the items. Okay, so we add functionality to this button, we remove button. Okay, again you just need to call the move book. Now the direction is changed. We provide here the borrow table in the books view. So this just one line will now function as we expect. And now we do not need to select this one and then remove it. You can select multiple items here by holding the control button and like this and bring it here. Now the next step is that we want to every time we move books around the two data grids, we want to sort them. So for sorting, it's easy. You click this here, sort the items in the target data grid. So this is easy. Target is the borrow dot sort. Now it will take two arguments. The first argument is the column, based on which column you want to make the selection, and the second argument is either ascending or descending. So we go to the columns, all the columns in the borrow data grid, and then we select the column 0, columns. Okay, and then we say that we want either ascending or descending. So this function can be, this constraint can be found here in the component model dot list sort direction dot ascending or descending. One thing more, if you do ascending, you need to update the underlying structure. So the underlying structure is stored in the borrow source dot in the borrow source. So first you move to the to the last item, and then you move to the last item. Okay, copy this sorting in the here as well. But now here we want to sort the book, and the book source. Run this application and select some items here and bring it here. Select this here. Now all the items are sorted in the grid. remove this. When you remove this will be sorted as well. This grid will be sorted 2 3 4. So I hope you enjoy creating this application, and I hope you will start it right now because this is very much interesting. So see you next time. Bye bye.